All right, everybody, we are 42 minutes, 25 seconds and counting to UFC 262. Big one going down tonight. We will have a new lightweight champion of the world crowned. Will it be Charles Oliveira? Will it be Michael Chandler? Co-main event is interesting as well. Will the losing streak of Tony Ferguson come to an end, or will the impressive winning streak of Beneil Dariush continue on? All those questions will be answered later on tonight as we welcome you to the People's Pre-Fight Show here on MMAfighting.com. We are live on YouTube, live on Twitter, live on Facebook. We got a whole crew here. I am Mike Heck, being joined by the latest winner of Between the Links, Alex K. Lee, the Prince of Positivity.
I almost didn't know who you were talking about. I never went on the show. I'm here. Alex. Oh yeah, I actually won one. Yes, happy to be here. Very excited.
And there's his record right there.
Oh,
his little mustache. Nobody needs Speaking of mustaches, Casey Leydon on the ones and twos. There he is. Got his Houston, Texas flavored collared shirt on. Yeah. And our special guest, the man who will bring most of the knowledge to this program, UFC bantamweight, getting ready to fight Adrian Yanez on July 24th. A man that a lot of people wanted to see tonight compete, but it just couldn't happen for a variety of reasons. But let us welcome in one of the most exciting fighters in one of the most exciting divisions in the UFC. Mr. Randy Costa joins us. Randy, how are you, my friend?
Heck, thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
It is good to have you here. And for those watching right now, you know how this works. It's not our call, what we talk about. It is your call. So submit your questions, your thoughts, your comments about tonight's event, and we will address them until it's time for the fights. As you can see, the countdown clock is in the bottom left-hand corner, 40 minutes and counting. So get those questions in, and we'll rifle it up. But before we get to the questions, we'll let them build up. Randy, I just want to get your thoughts on the main event, man. We got Charles Oliveira, the surging contender, his 28th walk to the octagon tonight, gets his first crack at a UFC title on walk 28, taking on Michael Chandler, former Bellator champion who gets a title shot in the UFC on just his second appearance. What do you think of this fight tonight?
Man, I feel like MMA fans are not giving like enough credit to these guys that are fighting. I feel like MMA fans are almost like neither of these guys kind of earned a title shot, when in reality, I think both guys are very deserving for the title shot. They just maybe don't have that Conor McGregor name value. But, man, this fight is going to be insane. Dude, I'm kind of leaning like Charles Oliveira, but, you know, Chandler has so much power, and Charles Oliveira is that tall, stand-up, straight style. I feel like he could get chin-checked. I don't know, man. I'm so pumped for this fight. It's such a toss-up.
I completely agree. It's just one of those things that it could end in 30 seconds. It's one of those fights like Chandler could land an overhand and put his lights on 30 seconds. But I'm fascinated to see what happens if this fight goes late. Like if we get to like the second half of the fight, end of the third, fourth, fifth rounds, like what are these guys going to look like? Like what's their energy levels going to be at? Is both their power going to be able to transfer that late into the fight? I'm really interested to see because Oliveira's never been there before. Chandler's been there a couple times. Sometimes he's able to compose himself throughout the entire fight and still has a lot of energy in rounds 4 and 5. Benson Henderson fight is the one that kind of sticks out to me, the title fight, where he dominated Benson Henderson for like the first half, maybe 3 rounds, and then Henderson turned the tables in 4 and 5 because Chandler was getting tired. So just a really interesting fight. AK, we didn't really get your thoughts on this. We did a little bit on the weigh-in show, but just your overall thoughts. We're probably like 6 hours away from these guys making the walk. What are you thinking right now?
I love this main event. I love this main event so much. I've been touting Charles Oliveira as maybe the sorry, I still have my computer there. It's a little special effect for you. I know. Live television, everybody. As one of the best, if not the best, lightweights in the world. It's a shame we'll never get to see, at least anytime soon, the Khabib fight. And again, I get it that he hasn't fought some of the big names that like Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. He hasn't been in that mix, and that's fine. It's out of his control. But I think his performances speak for themselves. He's finished everyone the UFC's put in front of him. I'm super excited for that. Chandler, great resume in Bellator, the most successful lightweight in Bellator history. I know people, the loss to Patricio Pitbull is going to leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. But outside of that, you cannot look at his resume and say this guy doesn't belong to be in a world title fight. We can argue, whoever is more worthy, that's fine. But I just cannot complain about these two names being in this main event and walking out of at the main event with a UFC title around their waist. I think it's great.
Yeah, timing is everything, Casey. I think a lot of people can agree that these guys are sort of blessed with good timing here, and there's nothing wrong with that. You take the opportunity, the phone rings, you get a title opportunity, you say yes. But in terms of like just the stylistic matchup that these two guys are going to present to each other, it's hard to find a better fight at 155 right now, right?
Oh no, it's a great fight. I've had on previous shows, I've had some issues with this being the title fight, but without a doubt, these are two of the top 4 lightweights in the UFC, and they're fighting for the vacant belt. It's a great freaking fight. Just 2 A-level fighters in the prime, and all the stuff about did Chandler deserve it? I think it's complete BS. Just because he fought 99% of his career in a cage with more than 8 sides or whatever, he's still a level A lightweight. And I'm super excited to see this fight tonight. It's awesome. I've been at many Chandler fights for Bellator, and I'm just hyped. I'm hyped he's getting the recognition that he deserves, and I'm hyped Charles Oliveira is finally getting the recognition he deserves. The fact that this is I think like the biggest storyline of this fight is Charles Oliveira with literally the longest road ever, with like 29 fights in the UFC to finally get a title shot, and then Michael Chandler getting the shortest road ever, I think tied with Anderson Silva. This in the modern UFC, not like the Dark Ages UFC, but in modern era UFC, getting a title fight in only a second fight. It's an awesome storyline. I love it.
Completely agree. It's a great fight. I'm looking forward to it. And both guys are treating it like this is the biggest fight of all time. They're very professional. Oliveira looks like $1 million with the suits and the getup and the sunglasses, and Chandler just every time he opens his mouth, it is gold. So these guys are doing the damn job. There's no doubt about that. So we got 35 minutes or so. Let's go to the peeps. What do we got going on? What are they saying? What are they thinking?
All right. Let's see. We got for the peeps.
Stop! It's not my birthday. Randy, don't read that. It's not my birthday.
Oh,
Casey, we have some. Please, please? We have some
Weird.
excellent questions. We have some
Okay.
excellent
Sorry,
questions.
that was a mistake. That was a mistake.
No, it happens. It happens.
That was a mistake.
Yeah,
Sorry. One more.
Yeah, completely understand. It's fine. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
sorry,
I knew it.
Sorry.
Yeah, nobody saw that one coming. Yeah,
Sorry.
nobody saw that one coming.
My bad. Oh no, I'm sorry. One more.
Okay. Would you get to the? There's a timer. There we go. That's a nice.
It's more of a comment.
There's no question about that. That's not a question. There's no question about that.
Are we debating this? Are we?
No,
is everyone on the same page?
No,
is $1 million smile?
I won't hear anything against it.
Oh. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Okay. How do you guys feel about the fast track for Chandler if he's a really active champion? In my opinion, I feel like Chandler is more of a company man, will be more active compared to both. So what are your thoughts on that, Randy? Like, the 155-pound title, like I think it's the most prestigious title in the UFC right now. Like, it's been the best weight class for a long time. But the one issue, if you can knock 155, especially in the title hunt, is that the champion hasn't really been all that active over the years. So do you feel like if Chandler comes away with the win tonight in the title, he'll kind of change the perception of the division, that he'll be a lot more active and defend the title a lot more than his previous title holders?
Yeah, dude. I think with Chandler especially, that his like goal or whole motive is around kind of like overcoming challenges, whereas past 155 title holders kind of had like other things they've had. For instance, Conor McGregor had the whiskey. Dustin has the hot sauce and the fight with Conor. Gaethje wanted to be the American guy to beat Khabib. I feel like Chandler's whole thing is kind of surrounded by himself really being the best lightweight in the world. And I think he very much recognized the fact that maybe he doesn't have, 5 years left. I think he's here to stay here and bang out fights back to back to back. I bet Chandler fights at least one more time before the end of the year if he were to win tonight, of course.
AK, I think Randy makes a really good point there, because one of the things Chandler has said from the beginning, since the knockout win in January, is that I want to be the guy that someday Khabib comes back for. Like, I want him to like watch me do my thing so that he gets off the couch and calls Dana White and says, I want to fight that guy. So with that being said, do you feel like Chandler will be that active guy to try to push for that Khabib fight down the road? I don't know if that's like the end goal, but sure. I mean, if he could be the guy to get Khabib back in the octagon, that'd be massive.
Yeah, Mike, it's like we said on some other shows that if Khabib's going to come back, it's not going to be. I said probably at least for another year, and during that time, he's going to need to see someone go on at least a similar run as a similar unbeaten run. I mean, no one's going to go 28-0, but if Chandler can string together 3 or 4, 5 title defenses between, let's say he wins tonight, and then before the end of 2022. That's gonna have to pique Khabib's interest just a little bit, assuming he has any interest in coming back at all. That's the sort of thing that would get him thinking like, okay, I see what's happening here. Again, we said Chandler, look, very all-American champion. I think it's a nice way of putting it. And I think there's that strong, that you'll always have that strong, that sort of nationalistic, like USA versus everybody else thing. And the UFC would love to bite into that. Love to have the USA versus Russia. It depends whenever you hold the fight, you could have that big, very super patriotic crowd. So I don't know if Khabib want to deal with that, but I think that's something that would interest the UFC a lot. I wanted to ask Randy, if you were in the same position as Chandler, though, I know you said he probably fights again for the end of the year, which I agree with. But let's say he's guaranteed the McGregor fight. Let's say McGregor beats Poirier, and he's guaranteed that fight. If you were in his position, would you wait? Would you be willing to wait for McGregor? Like, let's say McGregor's like, well, obviously I'm not fighting until January, February, March of next year. I'm taking some time off and having another child. Would you wait if you were in Chandler's position? Would you wait for that big fight?
If I'm Chandler, that's a no-brainer. I mean, this guy's coming from a different organization, being looked at as the B League champion or whatever you want to call it, and to be given the opportunity to fight the guy that's the #1 richest guy in Forbes this year as an athlete and have the chance to fight him, that money's going to sound appealing, especially since McGregor is, going for a title shot and will be a worthy opponent at that time. Obviously, if he loses, I don't think Chandler really cares about the McGregor fight at that point. But with a win, I mean, why not? You're going to defend your belt fast, and you're going to defend your belt and get paid pretty generously. I think it's a no-brainer. Chandler's a very smart guy. I think he knows he'll take that fight. I think it'd be a no-brainer.
So you don't think he would take one in between? If because I know you said you think he'd fight again. You think he'd risk taking one in between, or if he knew that the McGregor fight was guaranteed, he's going like, nope, I gotta wait for that. Make sure I have the title and all that.
Well, who would be the fight in between? Justin Gaethje, who is coming off a loss, right? I mean, why would you really entertain that as a fan of the sport? And I'm sure Chandler would be the same way as a competitor. You want that fight against Gaethje because that may be one of the harder fights. However, why would you want to have your first title defense be against the guy that's coming off a loss? To me, that wouldn't really make sense. And the real only answer, in my opinion, for the next shot at the belt would be the winner of McGregor and Poirier. I think that's pretty clear. I think that's pretty straightforward. While I think Justin does deserve a shot at the belt, I don't think he deserves it right now. And I think he probably should go and get another fight in the meantime. That wouldn't really be unfair. He lost his last fight. I mean, granted, it was for the belt, but why would you be gifted another shot at the belt against a different opponent when you couldn't take out the guy that retired? I don't understand. I'm a huge Justin Gaethje fan, but I definitely think that he needs to get another win before he gets another shot at the belt.
Yeah, interesting point there. Gaethje is definitely the wild card in this whole thing. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's see if he gets another fight. And I still think the fight to make, and I said this on one of our bonus shows, AK, the fight to make is Gaethje versus Max Holloway. Just have Holloway wants those challenges of fighting the best guys. Let Holloway bump back up to 55 and fight Justin Gaethje. That fight absolutely rules. He's not fighting for the featherweight title anytime soon because you still got the Ultimate Fighter, and then we still have to wait for Volkanovski or Ortega to happen. That might not happen till the end of the year at this point. So is Holloway just going to sit out the rest of the year? I don't see that happening. So get him up there to fight Gaethje. That's the freaking fight to make.
Oh man, that's cruel.
It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. Yeah. Just think about it. The more you think about it, it gets better and better, Randy.
I never even thought about that, but that fight actually makes all the sense in the world, right? I mean, you got the whole featherweight division locked up. You're worrying about the title fight. You're worrying about the show that still hasn't even started to play. I mean, the last person to fight Max was Calvin. And while I think all of us as MMA fans respect Calvin, we can probably recognize that he probably doesn't deserve an immediate rematch. And when you can't really throw Zabit in there, Zabit hasn't fought since 2003. You know, I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, and there's talks about him Zabit maybe even retiring at this point. So I don't know, like much. There's just reports from Russian outlets out there saying that he's done. We don't know that for sure, but that's the fight to make, man. That's if we're talking 5-round co-main events, that's a perfect 5-round co-main event for a pay-per-view or could headline the ABC card.
Yeah, or headline in any event, right? I mean, that's a huge fight. That's a huge. People want to see both of those guys are very much fan favorites.
Mike, like right now, where would you put Max in terms of waiting in line for the title shot? Is he next in line, or there's no way he faces Volkanovski ever again?
I mean, I think after that performance against Kattar, he gets the winner of Ortega versus Volkanovski no matter what. I don't care if Volkanovski beat him twice. And the second one is a little controversial. I will say I've watched Volkanovski Holloway 2 multiple times because I think it's one of the best and most underrated fights of 2020. And I've scored it for Volkanovski every single time. But I could see why people think Holloway won that fight. And I could see why there's controversy there. No doubt about it. So
if Holloway takes a whooping against Gaethje going 155, does he still keep his place in line at 45?
Depends
I'm saying,
how the whooping is.
That's why I don't think Holloway takes Gaethje. I just think that's too dangerous a fight for the head trauma alone.
I don't think Holloway cares about the belt though.
Well, that's where he's a prize fighter. I mean, he's got to pay bills, and
right. But he'd still get paid handsomely to fight Justin Gaethje.
Probably more handsomely to fight Justin Gaethje.
There you go.
Well, hopefully his manager can make that happen. Because if the money's right, then I would love. Of course. Actually, Gaethje versus a brick wall, Max Holloway versus a brick wall. Those two guys you can't really mess up matchmaking wise. So yeah, Gaethje and Holloway, awesome.
Tremendous. Tremendous. What else we got?
Let me see. We got.
Thank you, Louis Midance. Louis Midance. Louis Midance.
See how these see how these Q&As go? We ask one question, then we get off on like 14 different topics. Okay.
Of course.
If you haven't seen Randy's social media, he kind of explains it. But if you want to explain it here, Randy, I know the fight was set for July 24th. We're trying to get it on this card. It didn't happen. You want to give Giannis the whole hometown fight. Giannis is cool with July 24th. Some things were bumped off this card. We thought you guys might slide in. What happened for those who didn't see?
Okay, so to clear anything up from the beginning, we are signed, and we are set for July 24th. It's been that way from the start. We were trying to get moved to that Houston card, one, because they're fans, and two, because Adrian Yanez's hometown. So it was last Wednesday or Thursday or something, we started at like 2 or 3 fights fell off the card. And we were told that we would have the opportunity to get moved up to UFC 262 if the opportunity came and a fight fell through. Well, a couple fights fell through, so we had the opportunity. Then, we're like 6 or 7 days out from the fight at that point, and there is no other problem with weight, with being in shape, with medicals, nothing like that. Texas Athletic Commission has, I think, the lowest marijuana tolerance in the United States. For me, that's extremely unfair, and the reason I started posting about it was to kind of bring some light to it and how unfair it is. The UFC is not testing for marijuana. Why are the athletic commissions going to be the ones in charge of finding and overturning fights? So obviously, that didn't happen. That's really it. So I wasn't able to pass the marijuana test on like 5 days notice or 6 days notice. The threshold is extremely low, lower than any other state in the United States and lower than what the UFC was testing for initially. So unfortunately it didn't work out. I was able to bring a little bit of light to the whole marijuana thing in the UFC, which is still a win. But we were never set to fight UFC Houston. Nobody pulled out of anything. We just our hypothetical move just didn't come to fruition because of the marijuana threshold.
And just so people understand, that threshold is super low. Like, so if you take like an edible 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, you'll still get quote unquote popped. Is that correct, Randy? It's crazy, like how whatever, like it's not like you're stone fighting or anything like that. It's like it's from weeks ago.
No. Yeah. So obviously, can you stop that? So obviously, every athletic every athletic commission is different with the marijuana threshold. Vegas and the UFC was 150 nanograms per milliliter. So that's pretty much just not smoking anything or not ingesting any sort of THC like 4 or 5 days before the fight. Obviously, besides dabs or whatever, but straight marijuana, flower, or edibles. 3 or 4 days, you'd be able to pass the test fine. But the Texas Athletic Commission has just moved up to 50 nanograms per milliliter. So that's 1/3 of what USADA was testing for, what the UFC was testing for. So to put that in clarification, I guess, is you pretty much have to stop smoking, at least 2 weeks before the fight. There's obviously always a chance that you can pass the test, you can get the marijuana out of your system, especially when you're cutting weight and your body fat is low. But to me, that wasn't worth the risk. They're talking about suspending you, fining you, and overturning a fight. It's for marijuana. I mean, you see time and time again, every time there's a UFC card that goes to Texas, there's guys, getting fights overturned for marijuana. It just doesn't really make sense for me. I mean, you're allowed to take opiates, but you can't take marijuana. I just don't really understand. But it is what it is. That's the rules, and I have to play by them. But I brought some light to the situation, and hopefully answered some questions for some people.
We have someone in the comments called Hole and Dan Sock who says, "I want to see Randy smoke 5 huge bowls of dank indica and go fight." So you have supporters, Randy, who agree with how you should. Randy, I did want to ask you though. You and Adrian obviously had been campaigning over social media to just kind of like make this happen. Even though, like you said, you guys are booked for another date. That date is official. This is just something you guys want to do. So when did you really start looking into this? Did someone from your team reach out to the commission to kind of get an idea this would be possible? Did you look into it yourself? When did you realize like, oh no, this is like with the Texas Commission, it's not going to happen? Yeah.
So as soon as we had, we were seeing that all the Nate Diaz fight in particular. Once that fight was going, I figured that there was probably a better chance now that we would be able to replace it because they would need to bring some sort of excitement. And I know that Adrian and I don't have a name in the UFC, but we at least stirred some sort of pot on social media where we can maybe get people tweeting about UFC 262 or whatever it may be. But so we found out. And then I started looking up like UFC Houston because I remember my last opponent had his win overturned. Journey Newson knocked out Domingo Pilardi at UFC. I think it was 247 or something, 237 something. It was Jones versus Reyes, and he got his win overturned. And that was at the Toyota Center. So I started looking into it more. And then I emailed Jeff Novinsky. And Jeff Novinsky, man, I can't even begin to tell you guys how much of a help he was trying to get all this shit squared away. We contacted USADA to get my marijuana levels from my past tests, out of camp tests, out of competition tests, to see kind of where they were. But we really had a week to make the decision. If we found it on Friday, we were supposed to fly on Tuesday. So I can't get the marijuana results right away. You have to sit on it for a couple of days. And now I need to know if I'm going to fly to Texas and then I'm going to find out my levels are way too high and then I'm going to risk having it overturned. And to me, the risk didn't outweigh the reward. I mean, of course, there's a chance, but there's a chance that I just don't want any sort of negative bullshit tied between myself and drug tests. I want to be a clean fighter all around. If I have to come out and admit that, I smoke marijuana and I'm going to fucking fail the marijuana test, then I'll do that. But I just don't want any sort of negative ties between myself and drug tests. So it was the right decision, I guess.
I see. And the guy who you're referring to, who had their win overturned in Houston last time, was the guy you just beat, Journey Newson. He had a 38 second TKO win overturned because of marijuana. So I could see how frustrating that might be.
Yep. And my last, so I was supposed to fight Trevin Jones back in March. His win prior to that was also overturned to marijuana. It's complete. It's such bullshit. It's so unfair to all the fighters. Not even you're messing with guys, and you want these guys to be healthy, and not take this and not take that. But you smoke a little bit of flower to help you fall asleep at night, and you're getting shit overturned. It doesn't really make sense. It's kind of unfair. But again, the rules, I have to play by them. But if I can bring some sort of light and start some sort of conversation anywhere, then I mean that's a win on I guess.
This is all great information. I did not know this. This is great.
Yes, this is why we have a real person on for one, instead of us knuckleheads just bouncing off each other's, minds.
Like I said, man,
the biggest one.
This is not across every single state. Florida has 0. There's 100% tolerance. Texas has 0 tolerance. You can go to California and fight, and you can just pay $100 fine, but they don't mess with your record or overturning anything. Vegas is it's recreational there, but it just doesn't make fucking sense to me. Texas is freedom this, freedom that, but you can't let guys, smoke weed the week before a fight. I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. Thank
That wacky tobacco, I tell you, it's so dangerous. I tell you.
You effing narc, man. It's like
I don't approve of all you kids smoking the weeds these days. All right, smoking the weed, all you kids all day smoking the weeds. Gosh,
Randy, I'm from Houston, and like I live in California now, but like that is seriously one of the legit reasons why I can never move back to Texas, because of their, like you said, like guns, freedom, freedom, freedom. But don't smoke that weed. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah. I don't get
Congratulations. It. You're my new favorite fighter. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
How many other fighters, had to say no to this opportunity or had to, tell their managers exclusively, hey, I'm not fighting in Texas, no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, it doesn't make sense. It should all be universal. I mean, I get, like, the rules are universal, like, in the actual fight. Why can't the fucking marijuana rules be universal? I don't know. But, I mean, it's not my position. I'm just a stupid fighter, right?
You're an advocate,
that's real
Randy.
talk.
You're an advocate.
That's real talk.
Awesome.
All right, 15 minutes away, and it's going to kick off with Sean Soriano, New England's own, back in the UFC for the first time in several years, takes on Christos Giagos. I have a hard time believing that fight's getting out of the second round. That fight should end quickly. It should end in emphatic fashion. Should be a great way to begin the festivities. So that'll go down in a little over 15 minutes from right now. But the clock was stopped.
Oh, it did? No, it didn't. What?
Yes, it did.
It is stopped. Did I hit?
It is frozen. It is stopped. You New England guys are everywhere. It never ends with you New England guys. You guys are everywhere.
Stop?
We went from 15.
Oh, there
we go.
Okay, it's gone.
It's going. All right.
Clock's back.
All right.
Clock's back.
Okay. Woo.
People, get your questions in.
Time is moving.
Got a pro. We've got a pro.
Proud dog.
That's that. Long time commenter. All right. Yeah, this is just a simple one.
Oh.
Ooh, what's the fight of the night?
That's the easiest question in the world, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right?
Well, what is it?
Go ahead.
It's got to be Burgos versus Barboza. Somebody has to die, right? I mean,
I hope not.
What a tag! That's how you sell a fight. It's like, someone's gonna get knocked out. No. Someone's got to die.
That's like a dream fight. I cannot wait for that fight. I cannot wait.
Oh,
and they are genius for making that the pay-per-view opener too, because that wasn't the pay-per-view opener to begin with.
Yeah, how many fights did we? Yeah, we lost. Yeah, we lost a few fights off this card.
I think there was fights when it was first done deal. I think now there's 14 or 15, but yeah.
Oh
yeah, I remember when I interviewed you, Randy. We were trying to get this thing cooking, and you were like, "It's not happening in Houston because there's 275 fights on it already."
Yeah,
but, yeah, we've lost 5 of them. We lost 5.
Yeah, 800 fights to fucking 6 fights to now nobody can smoke weed, dude. Like, what is going on?
Anybody? Go ahead, Case.
No, but going back to the weed thing, and then I realized I was thinking, why isn't Derek Lewis on this card? And I go, okay.
Oh.
All right.
What? Anybody picking a different fight for fight of the night?
I mean, that's a fight of the year candidate. You know what I mean? I'm not picking against that.
Yeah,
that's a fight of the year.
Yeah, unless Burgos Barboza ends early somehow. If that fight goes past 7.5 minutes, it will be fight of the night. If it makes it past 7.5 minutes, I feel, just because of the nature of the fight of the night. Yeah.
Beneil and Ferguson have potential too.
Oh, of course.
That's my pick.
That has some big time potential.
Yeah, I don't know why the fight's great between Burgos and Barboza, but something is telling me that Burgos is going to have like a showcase performance tonight. I don't know why. I just kind of got that feeling that this is going to be like a night where he's just like, everyone kind of looks at him and is like, oh my God, like this dude is legit. And that's just how I feel. I could be totally wrong, but I feel like this could be a showcase night for Burgos.
Burgos is a Mark Henry guy, isn't he?
No, he's a Tiger Schulman guy.
Okay, so same. I mean, there's all great kickboxers there as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not going to be dealing with a guy that really has to rely on the hard wrestling for this fight. I think we're going to see a lot more footwork out of Burgos in this fight compared to his past fights. And I think we're going to see a very, very jab-heavy Burgos.
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of worries me is that him being in front of fans and fans getting rabid is going to force him into bad habits. Because he said that's one of the things that hurt him in the Josh Emmett fight is that he knew as he was in there that the fight was awesome. And he just was like, I'm having so much fun in here. This is great. We're having a great fight. And because of that, he felt like that was his downfall. Like he got too attached to the fight being so good that he almost like forgot about trying to win the fight. And he still felt like he won the fight at the end of the day, but he feels like that was his downfall. That's why he got dropped and kind of got into the bad positions that he got in the fight. So we'll see how the fans factor in, if he can block them out and just kind of focus on the task at hand. But that's kind of the one thing that would kind of sway me the other way if I was thinking about that. But I still feel like Burgos is going to have a good night tonight. Really good night.
Randy, do you have any idea? Oh, sorry, Randy, go ahead.
This is probably going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I think Burgos has more weapons and is more dangerous than Edson Barboza.
Casey, you know it's fine. Off air, Casey. Didn't I say the same exact thing? It's a New England thing. It's a New England thing. But listen, but Edson Barboza could kick Shane Burgos right in the face tonight, and no matter what we say, it could change everything. But I feel like Burgos has more ways to win. And which is why I think that pressure is just so tough to deal with. But Barboza could just, if he can get those leg kicks going and kick him up top the head and slow him down, it's a whole different fight. But, you know, the best Shane Burgos, I think, beats the best Edson Barboza.
I agree Burgos has more ways to win. I just feel Barboza's, his way to win is still more powerful, more likely than Burgos' combined ways to win. I just feel that way. But it's a great fight. I just want to see what happens. It's a great fight.
Love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. Mike, you mentioned the whole dynamic of fighting in front of the fans. Randy, do you know July 24th? Do you just assume UFC Apex? It's not that you guys don't have an official location yet, right? Are you assuming no fans UFC Apex, or do you think it's still possible you might end up like Jacksonville, somewhere where there'll actually be fans? Do you know it all?
We don't have a location, but I'm actually opposite. I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to have some fans.
What's it by? What's the date? I'm sorry.
May 15th.
July 24th.
Right, 2.5 months away, okay. And the CDC is lifting off guidelines for the masks already. So I think the only direction it's going to go, and especially, you know, August 8th or whatever is a pay-per-view, or August 7th is a pay-per-view, and that's just 1 week prior. I bet we're going to have fans of some nature. Probably Jacksonville, because Jacksonville's not that big, right? Jacksonville's like a smaller show arena.
I mean, it's a regular,
still 15,000.
Like 15,000. You know, the regular size, not a stadium, but basketball size arena. Like,
seems like they're putting a little bit of name value on this card. I don't know. Who knows? I hope.
You could have your 5 bowls of indigo if it's in Florida. That's for sure. So,
Florida.
Hey, AK like talking like he's in the know, like, oh, just 5 bowls, you know. Just
I just listened to what the comments. I don't know.
All right, what else you got? 8.5 minutes. There's a lot of potential sneaky fight of the night picks in here too. So, Mike Grundy, Lando Venata is a lot of fun. Really like that fight. Question for Randy. Ooh. You've studied poli-sci. Given that all organizations are inherently political, did your studies help you for MMA outside the octagon?
Did my study? Yes, but no, I guess. I mean, you kind of start learning about how people operate within each other. obviously, so that can help out a little bit. But maybe if I ever start representing myself and managing my own career, I'll notice a little bit more. But right now, nothing really.
See, I think it did help you more than you think. You know how I know that? Because you paused before answering that question. The fact that you thought about it. How do I be delicate? See, there's a lot of people who wouldn't have, Randy. They would have jumped right in and said something like "F no" or something. No, that was thought out.
Randy already brought up politics. Talking about Texas and the freedom. And supposedly.
Yeah.
Hey guys, stick to sports. Guys. Stick to sports. All right, one more question.
Thank you, Michael Easter.
We got another one.
More Michael Easter. Okay.
Are the $75,000 bonuses a one-time thing? I have no idea. I don't know if anybody has any. I don't know if AK or has any input. I think it's just for tonight, but I don't know.
That is the plan. I know that. No, I shouldn't say that's the plan. I'm just saying that's as far as we know. They are definitely have not announced it is for other events yet. So we just know it is starting. We say starting tonight, and we say starting. It goes to mean ending tonight. Hopefully not. We always like to see you guys get a little more cheddar. Randy, how unfortunate that this wasn't implemented like 6 months ago for you.
I mean, dude, I wouldn't have been pissed off if I got an extra 25 grand. But
I'm hoping they keep it around for at least the pay-per-views. Because the UFC, that's where they make their big money off the pay-per-view. So spread the wealth, guys.
Dude, they lost 5 fights off the card. You could swing an extra extra $100,000 somewhere, right?
I don't know. That's a couple hands of blackjack.
I don't want to take up the rest of the question time, but I do want to ask Randy. He did just win a bonus. Randy, what do you think of the bonus system as far as like? Do you feel? Some people are like, well, it's good it exists because it provides that extra incentive to maybe again go for the finish when people that might not normally. Or do you think there's other ways that they could sort of compensate you guys better? As opposed to just increasing the bonuses or giving more bonuses, whatever. What do you think of the bonus system?
I think the bonus system is great, but I think to answer your question about making people fight, I think that's really only going to like impact the people who are making less than the bonus amount to show up and fight. For instance, a guy like Chandler fighting tonight, he's probably making $1 million. That $50,000 bonus is not as imperative, I guess, for him to make. He'll be much more inclined to lay and pray a fighter and just beat them by points if he knows he's still going to clear $1 million. But a guy like me who's making I'll just throw a number out, $10 and $10 to fight. If you're going to tell me I'm going to make $50 to go out there and finish this guy, I'm going to risk losing the 10 to make the 50. But a guy who's making so much money to show up and fight, there's really no incentive to kind of put on a show for the fans. It really doesn't make sense. I think Glory Kickboxing, I think they do something cool where if you get a finish, your money goes up for the next fight. If you win, the money goes up for the next fight. If you lose, your money goes down for the next fight. While I don't think the money should be going down for the next fight, I think you should definitely be getting some sort of incentive to go out there and actually go for the kill, other than maybe winning a $50,000 bonus, which is obviously great, but it's a 1 in, if there's 14 fights tonight, there's a 1 in 28 chance you're going to win that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I thought this was some interesting math. I double checked it. It's pretty accurate.
What?
For that extra $25K, the UFC only has to sell 415 extra pay-per-views.
Oh.
So if they sell 1,000 extra pay-per-views, the UFC's got the money. It's up. They got the money to pay.
Right, but they need to sell. I'm trying to see if I could do the math here. 832, so 1,664 pay-per-views to get the 100,000 that they need for the 4 bonuses. Because there'll be 25 times 4.
So it's extra 1,000. Yeah, 1,000.
There you go. 2,000 pay-per-view, like 1,600 pay-per-views. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be just fine. All right. One more, and then we'll get the official picks in and
right, one more.
Enjoy some face punching.
More of a suggestion.
Is that me?
It depends. It depends what mood you're in. It depends what mood you're in.
How about it?
It's got to be me versus O'Malley or me versus Brian Kelleher.
Yeah.
What do you think? We ready? Costa's all about that tank top life. He's in Florida. He should be.
I would have gone sleeveless. I didn't realize this was casual. Ah, man, look at this. Jeez. So here we go. Nope. I think we're good on questions.
Well, we can. I see one more. Well, I mean, I think most of us know the answer for this, but I think it's worth talking about. Is your nickname? I think we know it's a movie reference. I see some Mariners fan in the comments just wants to know where it comes from. I think most of us know it comes from a movie. Why that movie specifically, Randy? Why are you sticking with it? Isn't it possible? This is from now. Isn't it possible that as the movie reference becomes dated? I don't know. Just talk about your nickname.
Okay, so obviously I didn't give the nickname to myself. I didn't even get told that it was my nickname. It was my pro debut. I was being announced, and they announced me as the Zohan. So I'm like, dude, you gotta tell me before. I'm trying to win a fight.
Wait. So you found out when you were in the cage?
Yeah, dude. The announcer's name, he's a friend of mine. His name's Andy Kurzakowski. And he was like, I'm going to call you something when I'm announcing your name. I'm like, dude, please don't. It's my first fight in fucking 4 years. Like, it's kind of a big deal. Like, don't call me something stupid. But anyway, so the Zohan is obviously a ridiculous movie. Or movie character. I feel like I'm a pretty ridiculous person. But the big things, he takes like a lot of pride in his hair, and I take a lot of pride in my hair as well. Also, if you notice, he can like kick from weird angles, like the foot uppercut and like kissing kick from nose to nose, and that's pretty much, I mean, me in a nutshell. I mean, I think so, and he hit the nail on the head.
So it fits. So the nickname's not going anywhere then.
No, I mean, I'm not. Nickname's not going anywhere. I mean, dude, look at me. Are you gonna call me, hey, Randy, the killer Costa? No.
The assassin, right? No. Pitbull. Have you thought of Pitbull? I think we need more. We need another Pitbull. Randy Pitbull Costa. I like it.
Maybe Buttercup.
Dude,
Buttercup.
That stuff happens a lot, especially in New England. I remember I was ring announcing a card, and there's a fighter from Connecticut. His name is Will Smith. And he was making his pro debut. Yeah, Sriracha. So I'm in the cage. His manager comes up to me and he says, hey, don't call Will by his nickname. Call him Sriracha. And then Nick Newell comes up to me and says, yeah, dude, call him Sriracha. And Will had no friggin' idea. So I announce him Will Sriracha Smith. And he's like looking around. Nick Newell starts laughing his ass off. And I'm just like, I hope he wins. So like Will doesn't like beat me up and get all pissed off at me for like throwing him off.
Yeah, 5 minutes before a fight, everybody turns into a fucking comedian. So,
right, that's just what I want. I'm like, are you sure? He goes, yeah, he'll be fine with it. And I don't apologize. I apologize to him afterwards.
I'm like, bro, now is not the fucking time. I'm trying to win a fight.
I got to get a fist fight. No, dude, trust me, it's
like,
funny.
Oh my
it's
God.
funny.
Insane.
All right.
Don't worry about mom. She's good. All right.
Last thing before we say goodbye. Official pick for the main event. AK, who you got?
Oliveira.
Gaethje.
Chandler, round 2, knockout.
Randy.
That's the exact same thing I was going to say.
Ooh.
I'm going with Oliveira via decision plus 650 odds on that. I'm not betting, but I found that betting line very enticing because I don't know what's going to happen if Oliveira can get into the third round and beyond. All right, last one, co-main event. Randy, who you got? Tony Ferguson or Beneil Dariush?
Tony 2.0. Let's go, baby.
Casey.
Beneil 2.0. Are we at 2.0 yet? Yeah, go Beneil 2.0. He's gonna do it tonight. This is Beneil's big night.
AK.
I'm still believing in Tony Ferguson. I'm going Ferguson by decision.
I said this on the preview show. I'm sticking with it. I think Tony Ferguson's the name we're talking about at the end of this card for the next several days. I think he's gonna be that guy. Like, we're gonna have a new champion and everything, but we're all gonna be talking about Tony Ferguson. I think he's gonna do something just barbaric. And y'all must have forgot kind of a performance. Yeah. Third round, I think he gets it done. I think he wears on Dariush just masterfully in a weird, chaotic Tony Ferguson-esque way, and then he puts him away late. But I think he's going to fight it. I think Tony Ferguson might get $150,000 tonight because I think that fight's going to be so good. but he might get himself 2 bonuses.
All right.
So we'll see. All right. With that being said, it's time to watch some fights. Randy, you're the man. Appreciate you joining, my
Thanks,
man.
Randy. Thanks, Randy.
You guys have a good weekend. All right, let's enjoy some fights.
There we go. For Casey, for Randy Costa, for AK, I am Mike Heck. We'll see you later on, everybody. We got a lot of talking to do tonight, so we'll see you after the fights.
Later.
If it's legal, smoke weed.